Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I am going to talk about properties window. If you find this video helpful, like, subscribe if you're new, turn the notification on to see the upcoming videos. And without further delay, let's get into this. First, I want to show you what this panel above properties is for. In order to specify which collection of objects are rendered out in each view layer, you can check and uncheck collection here in what's called the outliner. I highly recommend using descriptive name for your collection and view layers by double clicking them. Now, the properties editor contains several tabs vertically to display the properties of your scene, your current tool and whatever object you have selected. To start at the top, this first tab represents the option your currently selected tool in the viewport may have. In this case, the selected box tool gives you a few different selection options. The next few tabs which you can see are separated by a small gap, contain your scene, specific properties. Just to clarify, your scene refers to your entire 3D. However, you can create more than one scene in a single Blender file. By clicking up here, you can also select a scene from existing scenes using the drop-down. This back-facing camera icon is your render tab. This allows you to change render engines, sampling, engine-specific properties, and other properties that affect your final image and how it's interpreted from the 3D scene. The next icon looks like a printer, and this is your output tab. This is where all of your output settings can be tweaked before render. Resolution, frame rate, file path, file type, and much more. The icon that looks like a stack of photos is the View Layer tab, and is similar to what used to be called render layers. View layers are typically used to separate backgrounds and character paths. However, you will notice this only the path properties, not the objects, and is for only one view layer, the one we are currently in. To select a different view layer to change its properties, you will need to go up here. Similar to creating a new scene, you can create and select existing view layers here. Next, we have the General Scene tab. This has other miscellaneous scenes properties that affect your scene, such as your active camera, your units, and rigid body set. Finally, the globe icon, and is called the World tab. This includes properties for the sky and air for your scene. In other words, the surface option of your world is the shader used for your sky or background color, while volume allows for volumetric lighting throughout the atmosphere of your scene as a whole, such as fog or mist. For the next section, the property tabs will be specific to the active object you have selected. So in this case, I will select the cube. Our first tab is the Object tab. This contains basic information such as location, rotation, and the scale of object. You can also specify parent-child relationship, which collection it belongs to, and visibility of the object. The next tab is a very important tab for Blender, represented by a wrench icon. The Modifiers tab allows for powerful manipulating of objects using predefined modifiers. Simply select a modifier from the drop-down menu to add it to the stack below. You can use as many modifiers as you like and change the order or application of this modification using these arrows. For example, the subdivision surface modifier and the bevel modifier. This next tab is the Particles tab. You can see the icons looks like an object shooting particles out from its main body. In here, you can create particle systems and add them to the object you have selected. Next is the Physics tab, which looks like an orbiting planet icon. This contains several different types of physics simulations and physics manipulators, including cloth, rigid body, smoke, fluid, collision, and force fields such as wind. The next icon looks like two objects wrapped together. This represents the Constraint tab. This tab is very similar to the Modifiers tab, but deals more so with the relationships of the objects you have selected with other objects or values, rather than manipulating the object by itself. The green triangle icon is for your object's mesh data. To explain what mesh data is, I can tell you that the reason why our cube is a cube is because of the mesh data. If I were to take this exact same object and change the mesh data, its shape would not be the same, but its object properties such as its location would remain the same. Here you can manipulate your vertex groups, also known as weight maps, your shape keys, also known as blend shapes, and your UV maps. Other geometry specific settings belong here as well. Next, we have our Material tab. This is represented by a material sphere icon and is where you control much of how your object is shaded during render. The material you choose here will affect how shiny your object is, what color it is, and how rough it may appear to be. The final tab is actually in a different section. As you can see, there's a small gap there. This is the Texture tab, represented with a checkered canvas icon and is not object specific. Texture exists as separate entities that can be referenced for a number of things, including the world aka skybox, materials, or brushes. Because of this ubiquity, they are in a separate section. Let's go ahead and left click to select our lamp object. This is the dotted circular thing you see next to our cube. Once you have that selected, you will have access to its lamp properties, which looks like a light bulb. This is where you can tweak its brightness, the radius of lights, whatever or not it casts shadows, and what type of lamp it is. We can also left click to select our camera object, which is the sideway rectangular pyramid shape we have here. Now you should have access to the camera option, which include focal length, perspective type, and much more. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this is helpful for you, and I will be going into more details about the other workspaces in the next videos.